Okay, moving right along with chapter 5, we are in section 2. In section 1, we talked about solving linear inequalities by adding and subtracting. Okay, and it was nothing new. We were solving them the same way that we do when we are solving an equation. Okay, so now in this section, we're going to talk about multiplication and division. All right, once again, solving it the same exact way. Use your inverse operations to solve for your variable. Okay, but there is one small difference about multiplication and division, okay? And that is, listen carefully, this is very, very important. You might want to put a little star next to it. Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, the sign must flip, okay? So let me write that. Okay. So very, very, very important, all right? Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip the sign. So over here I have an example and a non-example to show you what I mean. So in this example, follow straight down. We have negative 3x is less than 6. To solve this, just like we would with a normal equation, we would divide by negative 3 on both sides. Now, when we divide by this negative 3, over here they go away, they cancel out, and we're left with x. And on this side, we're left with 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. Now notice here, what happened to the sign? It flipped around, okay? Nothing else flipped. X stayed over here on the left, and your constant stayed over here on the right. It's just that when you divide by a negative, you got to flip the sign around, okay? Now here's a non-example. In this non-example, the coefficient here is a positive number, so you're going to end up dividing by a positive, and when you divide by a positive number, nothing changes, the sign stays facing the way it was, all right? So it only applies to negatives, like here, negative 3, okay? So anytime you're multiplying or dividing by a negative, and only with a negative. So let's look at an example. Number 9, once again, we need to solve it, graph it, and write it in a sentence. Okay, we have negative 13n is less than negative 26. And to solve this, we could put a line down the equal sign if you would like, or what would be the equal sign, and let's divide by negative 13. Okay, so your answer should be n, and on the right side, negative 26 divided by negative 13 is positive 2. Now, we divided by a negative, so what's going to happen with the sign? It needs to flip. So it needs to now face that direction. Okay, so let's write it as a sentence. N is greater than 2. Okay, so let's find 2 on our number line, and it's here. This should be an open circle. Remember about open versus closed circles. If you don't remember, go back to the first page of your notes. And it's an open circle. And we're talking all the numbers greater than 2, so like that. Okay. Let's go on down. Let's stick with the odds. Number 11, 9n is greater than or equal to 63. Okay, so we need to divide by 9. And n is going to be greater than or equal to 7. Okay. Notice we did not divide by a negative number. 9 is positive, so the sign does not flip. It stays the same. Okay. Write it as a sentence. N is greater than or equal to 7. All right, and then we'll graph. We need to find 7, it's right here, greater than or equal to, so that is a closed circle, and greater than goes in that direction. All right, I'm noticing that my paper, my marker is bleeding through to the other side of notes, so I'm going to switch to a highlighter here. Okay, number 13. We have x divided by negative 6 is greater than positive 6. So we need to solve, okay? X is being divided by negative 6, so we need to use our opposite operation. Opposite of divide is to multiply. So we need to multiply each side by the denominator, negative 6. Okay? So negative 6 divided by negative 6, this cancels, and you're just left with x is greater than, oh, wait a second, should it be greater than? Did you catch my mistake? Let's come back to that. 6 times negative 6 is going to be 36 negative 36. Okay? Now, remember what we said. Anytime we divide or multiply by a negative number, which is what we did here, we multiplied by negative 6, we need to flip the sign. All right. So now, written as a sentence, this is x is less than negative 36. All right. So negative 36 is here. We're talking less than. So open circle. And less than numbers are going to be in this direction. Okay. And number 15, I want you to pause the video right now and try number 15 on your own. Resume when you think you've got it done, and we'll go over how to graph. All right. X is greater than or equal to 24. When you solve, you get positive 24. Hopefully you remember to flip the sign. But then we really need the variable first, so rewrite it with the variable first and make sure that the sign is open towards X. So you have to flip that around again. All right. So lots of flipping around. Pay real close attention to this because you might end up confusing yourself if you don't go slow and follow all of the rules, okay? So we're talking greater than or equal to 24, so that is a closed circle at 24. And all the greater than numbers are going to go to the right. Okay, guys, that's all we've got for this section, so I want you to try these other 4, the evens, on your own. Don't forget about the summary questions tonight, and have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.